All right, guys. So this guy, Andrew Callaghan of Channel 5, went on CNN to talk about his new documentary. And it was pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting. Don Lemon got very defensive for some reason. Now, this guy, Andrew Callaghan, we last covered him when he interviewed Alex Jones. I think he did a phenomenal job in that interview. I think a lot of his videos are very entertaining and good. And you're going to see his documentary is much more well thought out than like the dumb lowbrow narrative that CNN tries to push. And so Don Lemon gets triggered because he's not giving like the CNN echo chamber responses. Let's watch.
In 2020, shit got super serious. Protests, pandemics.
Basically, it's slavery.
Remember that?
Freedom! We think that they're trying to steal our election. All you have are personal attacks. Info war, not physical war.
My name's Andrew Callaghan. This is the story of the events that led up to the January 6th Capitol riot. You ever feel like you've gone too far down the rabbit hole?
So joining us now is the director, producer, and stars in this documentary called This Place Rules, which debuts on HBO December 30th. Andrew Callaghan.
By the way, this woman is like the epitome of anti-charisma. She is. When she talks, I just want to knock the fuck out. She is the human equivalent of Ambien. And this one is the human equivalent of annoying.
Andrew, I mean, this is a lot. This is a deep dive into this documentary. Yeah. And there's so much to talk about here when it comes to who you spend time with, what you saw. But, you know, when it comes to what's happening today, Enrico Tarrio, he was not at the Capitol on the 6th, but he still played a role in this. And he's facing some of the most serious charges that are stemming from that day. What did you see from him as you were shooting this?
Yeah, I just talked to him in the lead up to the January 6th Capitol riot. Just hung out with him a little bit in D.C. and Miami and elsewhere.
And what did you learn about him?
He sells T-shirts. He's the chairman of the Proud Boys. Yeah.
So no details about his involvement, his state of mind, or anything?
I mean, I don't think the movie's not just about like the Capitol riot and all that. It's also about like media echo chambers. You know what I mean? And like the dangers of the 24-hour news cycle, and how I think mainstream media like Fox and even CNN like competes for views by running constant 24-hour news cycles based upon fear, division, outrage, and panic, probably to like sell ads. So it's not just about the Capitol riot.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. First of all, I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'm not exactly sure of how that played into people going into the Capitol and rioting on January 6th. There's nothing fake about CNN.
Oh, I'm not saying like fake news.
Don Lemon's like, oh, sir, you've gone off script. We invited you on to say January 6th bad, Trump supporters bad. Please get back to that. Now, Andrew Callaghan, as you're about to hear right now, in fact, here, I'll play it for you. He thinks, yeah, January 6th bad, Trump, you know, the QAnon types bad, but he also has a more nuanced view of the media landscape in general, and he's trying to get that message across, and CNN is not having it because they're part of the fucking problem.
I'm just saying, ramping people up and increasing division during that period of time, just watching people kind of fall down the rabbit hole and be pushed into action and like, just, yeah, falling down the conspiracy rabbit hole.
Yeah, I think more people would consider, you know, what's happening online and what happened with the former president and the messaging that he was putting out there and QAnon and so forth.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree 100% with that as well.
Yeah.
See, okay, so let me break this down for you a little bit. So Andrew Callaghan, yeah, he's tracked a lot of these people who've gone off the deep end, the people who are too far gone, the QAnon people, the Pizzagate people. I've seen him interview them before. And so he's well aware of how like insane a lot of these people are, how they are in their media echo chamber, whether it's on 4chan or 8chan or watching Newsmax or One American News Network. And so, yeah, he's very critical of those people and he covers them. And, you know, it's very illuminating when he does that. But the reason why Andrew Callaghan's philosophy is more well-rounded than that of fucking Don Lemon on CNN is because Andrew Callaghan would also admit, hey, when you look at CNN and when you look at MSNBC, what is your role in this media ecosystem? And the idea is very simple. Your role is standard resistance liberalism, rah-rah corporate Democrats, and 24/7 Trump supporters are the enemy, Trump supporters are the enemy, Republicans are the enemy, and that also feeds into the problem because you're not changing anybody's mind. You're not debunking anything in a nuanced and intelligent way. You're not presenting a convincing counter case. You're just playing the other side of the same game. And look, I think he's correct in this analysis. I think he's correct in this breakdown. Now, I think he would also say, hey, I'm not saying the QAnon people and the Pizzagate people are equally as bad as your average fucking CNN viewer. I don't think that at all. I think one is kind of clearly worse in a sense and clearly believes more misinformation. But also, CNN, MSNBC, like, take responsibility for what you are and what you do. Don't pretend like it's the idea of Hate Inc., the Matt Taibbi book from years back, where basically the thesis of that book is there was a time when the U.S. had, like, the external enemy. And so it was like America versus whatever, communism. America versus the Soviet Union. Then it was America versus the terrorists. And these are simplistic narratives, but that was the narrative. But in a sense, even though it was a bad paradigm, Americans viewed themselves as one. Well, now we've replaced that with, red state America versus blue state America, Republicans versus Democrats, Trump supporters versus resistance liberals. And so that's the narrative, and that's what people are fed 24/7. And you could see here, CNN just wanted to invite Andrew Callaghan on to be like, Trump supporters bad, January 6th bad, which, by the way, is the fucking easiest bar to clear of all time. It's the lowest bar ever. It's the most obvious shit in the world. Yes, storming the Capitol, doing a violent riot, trying to do an insurrection. That shit is bad. Everybody knows that shit is bad. But let's have a more nuanced conversation here about the role of CNN, the role of MSNBC, how everybody has their own little media echo chambers, and the problem with that. But they don't want to have that conversation. They just want to, Enrique Tarrio, really bad. Proud Boys, really bad. Oh, fucking real brilliant take there. No shit. No shit, those people are bad. What then? What next? What comes after that? Is it CNN good? MSNBC good? No. You guys do your own propaganda. You guys do your own spin, and your spin is rah-rah corporate Democrats. All Trump supporters are evil. You definitely need a more nuanced view than that, and a more accurate worldview than that to gain respect. It's like low IQ garbage, and they think they're the fucking saviors of civilization. CNN and Don Lemon and people like that. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
So listen, there are literally so many jaw-dropping moments in your documentary, including a weightlifting scene with conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Yeah, for sure. He can bench press a lot, actually.
Why would you put that in? Why'd you spend so much time with him, and why is he such a big part of this film?
Well, I mean, I just think that, like, whenever we were filming for the documentary, there was just certain moments that were super surreal that just kind of happened, and I felt like we had to kind of leave the footage in. So the Alex Jones weightlifting, whiskey drinking scene would also be one of those moments that I couldn't, like, leave out of the movie, for sure.
One thing that also stood out was what you heard from people when it comes to, like, conspiracy theories. I mean, there were parts that were like...
By the way, the question from Don Lemon there was basically like, why didn't you just say Alex Jones bad and just portray Alex Jones as bad? Well, Alex Jones can be bad, and you could also try to flesh out a full picture of him as a person to see how goofy he is and crazy he is and interesting he is, right? But he doesn't want that. He doesn't want like a real behind-the-scenes picture. He wants the caricature, the caricature to be fed, the narrative of CNN to be fed.
Children were shouting conspiracy theories. And I wondered, as you talked to these people, if you got the sense that they actually believed what they were saying or what your takeaway was.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, believe what they're saying. I just think that, like, the echo chambers in the media, especially more fringe media that a lot of these people are consuming, is pretty all-encompassing, and especially the mythology of QAnon, like, consumed a lot of people's lives during this period of time, and it kind of, like, just became everything they wanted to fight for up until the Capitol riot. So that particular scene where I spoke with that family in Georgia, where it was like that the structure and whole basis of their family was like based upon Q and following that kind of lore, was definitely unsettling for sure. But yeah, it's interesting to see where it is now because, I guess hard QAnon stuff has kind of dissipated in terms of like, no one posts on the Q boards anymore, but it's kind of bled into like mainstream conservative thought.
Yeah.
I do think we should point out a lot of those conspiracies are not from legitimate media. That's from like social media and websites.
God.
Those things are pushed in like dark corners of the internet.
Oh yeah, but it's like people spend their whole time in these dark corners of the internet, so it feels very real to them, especially because I think the biggest problem is probably media literacy. and like taking a lot of this information that's false as fact because of, you know, you're seeing it on Facebook, you're seeing it on Newsmax, you're seeing it on One American News Network, places like that.
Yeah.
Okay, he's way too nuanced and intelligent to have this conversation. Excuse me. To have this conversation with these two goons. They're not interested in like a well-rounded picture of the media and of his documentary and of even the people that they're asking questions about. You know, hey, do they really believe it? Yeah, they do. And that's one of the reasons why it's interesting to go behind the scenes with them. Anyway, you get the picture. So this is Andrew Callaghan basically calling out CNN on CNN and presenting a more nuanced, accurate worldview that they can't stomach because in their worldview, CNN good, all other media bad. Trump supporters bad, QAnon bad, us good. Got bad news for you, man. QAnon is bad. The storming the Capitol is bad. But you guys are not so great either. And also, you are like literally the worst ever at doing what needs to be done, which is the de-radicalization of a lot of these people. You actually feed the problem, if anything, and otherize and make it so people go more in their corners and feed the problem more. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.